Yeah.
It was weird.
You see,
People were so
what's my deepest fear though is if I accidentally hit start streaming when I'm setting stuff up, you know, like that's really scary. Anyways, we're actually live now, so
Oh, look at that.
what is up, everyone?
Cool.
Welcome to this discussion on my channel, Andres Restart. This is us, and this is me. I am Andres Restart. I am joined by my two good friends, Will and Brandon. Will from Blue Will the Deity, and Brandon from What About Nintendo. If you've never seen them before, if you like what they have to say, make sure to check out their channels in the description below. So, we have some stuff to talk about. I went on a mini hiatus. I didn't really call it a hiatus, but I needed to get my head straight. I think I've really been messed up about this whole partner program thing and really trying to hit the goals and paying attention to the numbers. But I've realized that's stupid. I'm a creator. I care more about my creative vision and creating cool content and doing stuff with you guys. So that's what gets me going, and I think I have my head in the right place now. So yeah, just kind of putting that out there, guys. But so let me go over the topics. So here are the topics. Apparently, Switch is has had the most 90+ rating games in its first year compared to its competition like Xbox, PlayStation, 3DS, you know, all that stuff. Capcom is also apparently looking into adapting Monster Hunter World for the Switch. Maybe we'll get into that as well. Disney may actually be changing the developers and publisher for Battlefront. You know, Star Wars Battlefront. There have been some information that's been discovered that Metroid Prime 4 may actually have online multiplayer. We're going to get into that, discuss it, if it's good or bad, and I'm going to say if I even think this is realistic, or at least if the source is actually indicating that. And then the main topic, what if Nintendo never existed? And I think we could take this topic in many different directions. There's so much that we could talk about with that, but just kind of a disclaimer, Will actually came up with this idea. He's planning on making a video about this in the future, so stay tuned for that as well. It was his idea, so full props to him. And full props to Brandon for keeping me up to date on all the most interesting topics throughout the week when I don't do that. So, yeah. How you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I see your point of not focusing on the numbers. I think that's very good for creators to do that, so good on you, man. That's always, I think, the best thing to do is focus on your content rather than the numbers of views or subscribers you're getting, while also balancing that with keeping, you know, good feedback and stuff like that, taking constructive criticism. But I'm doing pretty good. Just had a fun stream. I had fun playing the games. I mean, I didn't get that many viewers, but I actually had a lot of fun playing it, so it's whatever.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, you know, sometimes I play games on the live stream because, well, I want, you know, you do it because you want to bring in other people, obviously, right? And live streaming can bring in more subscribers and stuff. But, like, when I do it for the views and when I get upset about the views, they kind of doesn't even allow me to enjoy the game. So it's kind of like a weird balance, and that's why, like, getting too stuck up on the numbers can really take away from your enjoyment of, you know, being a gamer
takes away from
or
the
a
quality
creator
of the content you're making.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't want to really get too much into the whole YouTube dilemma, partner program. Oh, my YouTube life is so hard. Like, I'm done with that crap. I'm just done with it.
Yeah.
I've gotten caught up in it, and now it's just let's just talk about the good stuff, you know. So that's what we're gonna do. But while you guys...
Well, I'm fine. Thanks for asking.
Sorry, I didn't ask, Will. I was getting to you.
Yeah,
I was getting to you, I swear. But what have you been doing this week?
I actually have been doing that much this week. I actually agree on Brandon when he said, you guys know how my mindset is when it comes to all that. It can be really hard to not pay attention to the numbers, but when you do, I feel like your content can soar to new heights of where it should have been in the first place. It's kind of really hard to keep pushing. But in other stuff that I've been doing, I've kind of just been enjoying the, you know, Bayonetta Switch hype and stuff like that.
Yeah, I haven't been able to play Bayonetta yet. I also haven't been able to play Shadow of the Colossus Remastered yet. Like, the games are kind of piling up on me. Yeah,
I never got to play any of the two games.
Yeah, I know. I've never played either on Wii U, and now they're on Switch, and I just haven't been able to pick it up yet. But like, I'm hearing great things about the ports. They're very solid ports. The frame rate has been improved. There's a bit more content, and if you didn't get to enjoy them on Wii U, like me, even though I had a Wii U, I still didn't buy the games. they're on Switch, and they're perfect for it. You guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we can hear
I heard
you. I just
Yeah.
didn't have anything to say to that.
No, so there's actually one more thing I want to say to that, though. What I did play the demo, Bayonetta 2 on Wii U, and I don't like the controllers on the Wii U. Like, the buttons just don't feel they're not as satisfying to press as compared to, say, for example, to the Pro controller. It's a lot more snappy, and it feels more organic to me. I don't know if that's just my personal opinion or if anyone else agrees with me, but that's how I kind of see it. Yeah. So let's get to the chat, and then we'll actually jump into the topics. I guess you guys don't really care about.
I wonder how significant the fact that it's a port is when like 5 people played the game.
Right.
In a response to Kimishima, it's like so it's a port that no one played.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are people who want it, and there are people who are going to buy it. If people are buying it, that should be justification in and of itself. If people are buying it, it was a good idea. So, let me get to the chat. I know some people are like, hey, notice me. So, I notice you. I just haven't, I want this to be a good discussion, so sometimes I'm not going to interrupt people while they're talking, or if I'm saying something. So, just be patient, because this is a podcast, a discussion. But I do want to incorporate you guys into the discussion. So in between topics, I will be looking into the chat, bringing you guys up. When there's a lull in the conversation, I will bring you guys up. So just bear that in mind. And if you have extra questions that you really want to get us, ask them, obviously. And if I miss them for whatever reason, I might be saving them towards the end. So maybe save your questions towards the end if there's like anything big. Like, for example, I know Blackstar Dude wanted me to talk about Mario Kart Tour a little bit. So we'll try and talk about that a little bit at the end of the discussion. Just try and remind me, okay? So let me look at the chat before we sort of jump into things. What's up, Blackstar Dude? What's up, Toshmi Kimishima? Hey, Arushan. Hey, Krish. I think Krish already left, but hello anyways. What's up, Sabba64? How you doing, bro? Who else is here so far? Pop Slayer, how's it going, bro? Yeah, I know, Kimishima, I know you don't like ports. Yeah, so... actually, Kimishima showed me a video about this Pikmin video from, what's his face? Nintendo Beyond. Project Pikmin A Winter Wonderland. It's a 15-minute video he showed me right before the discussion, so I couldn't watch the whole thing. But you guys should check it out. It's really interesting. I saw the first couple minutes. It's kind of like... It's like a Pikmin... It's like, the way the video is, it's making me feel like I'm at Disney or Universal Studios, like I'm in one of those, like, interactive rides, and they're like, oh, okay, so this is the Pikmin world, this is what's going on, everyone make sure to check the description, there's a whole bunch of items we need to find as we traverse throughout the world of Pikmin. That's how it's seen in the beginning. It's like kind of like an acclamation kind of style. It's really interesting, so I suggest you guys check out the video, Project Pikmin A Winter Wonderland Nintendo Beyond. I've only seen the first 2 minutes, so maybe it's not really that good, but I think it really is, so check it out. I'm gonna watch the rest after the discussion. Yeah,
because he puts like he's a very polarizing guy, but videos like that are usually really good for him. So
yeah, it's very creative, but it's not an opinion-based video.
Yeah.
Is that made by Josh Thomas?
Yeah. He changed his name to Nintendo Beyond.
Interesting. He's an interesting. I have interesting opinions on him.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Who's Josh Thomas?
From the BitBlock.
Nintendo Beyond.
Yeah, he's well, he was from the BitBlock, but now he's from Nintendo. He's changed his stuff, but.
Well, that's the thing. He's changed his name so many times. I don't know who. Whatever. So yeah, Jeremy Bent is saying that Rex should be for Smash. I think Rex would be a great fit in the next Smash Bros. For sure. Like a pairing like between Rex, Pyra, and Myth. We talked about this last week. So yeah. Now I guess let's just jump into the topics. All right. By the way, guys, if the music is too low or too loud, let me know. Anyways. So the Switch apparently has had more 90+ rating games than any other system in its first year. Like, there's Breath of the Wild, there's Mario Odyssey, there's apparently Celeste, there's Mario Kart, there's a few others. I have to check the link. Brandon, do you have the link on hand, or should I just go and check it out?
I don't have a link.
I'm gonna check it right now. But what do you guys just kind of think about that?
Words for it.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna look it up right now. But
definitely. it's definitely a big like fuck you to the people that say, "Oh, it's just shovelware on the system." No, it's not. It's not going to be one of those shovelware systems. Especially if anything that this first year proved, if nothing else at all, it's that the Switch has a boatload of quality games already.
Yeah. Nintendo's actually done a pretty good job of making sure most shovelware games don't get on the Switch. There have been some weird games, and it's just like, how did that ever get approved? But most of the time, when you see a game on the Switch eShop, it's usually a high-quality title that you can, you don't have to worry about too much about buying something and just being absolute garbage. Unlike, when the Wii and you just had to dig through 10 billion shovelware games to get to the good ones. So they've been doing a pretty good job about that. So
yeah, I mean it's not really like My Little Pony 3000 and Barbie and Barney's Ride Along. Like there's actually like
You're
there's
telling
some
me you didn't like
Barbie
you
and
didn't like
Barney.
SpongeBob and the Quest for the Krabby Patty? You didn't like that?
I feel like Krabby Patty's an innuendo, so not really.
SpongeBob and the Quest for the Krabby Patty.
So like here's the article that's kind of talking about it. So Wii U had 3 games that were above 90 apparently. 3D World, Rayman Legends, and Wind Waker. Now, keep in mind, these ratings are like a compilation of a whole bunch of other ratings. I think from Metacritic.
Yeah.
So this is compiling for the most part, all the accredited like reviewing sites and publications, and bringing up an average score. So the Metacritic score is pretty telling for what the industry thinks of the game. Okay, so yeah, I mean, those are 3 good games. Albeit Rayman Legends was delayed to Kingdom Come, but whatever.
And then it wasn't exclusive anymore, which was like, whatever.
So PS4 by comparison. Grand Theft Auto 5, 97, which was on like, it's on, Grand Theft Auto 5 is like on 7 platforms. It was like remade for the PS4 and
it's on
Xbox One.
literally everything.
Yeah, so I feel like that deserved an asterisk because it was on like everything. And I think Grand Theft Auto 5 had already come out a couple years beforehand, but still, I mean, it's still a good game to have for sure. I'm not trying to take away from, I am trying to take away from it actually, but not a lot, because it's still a good game to have.
It's a good game.
It's a great game.
Like
yeah, it is.
Last of Us Remastered, 96. Flower, I've never even heard of that, 91. Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil, 90. Rayman Legends, which was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive, whatever, 90. And then Fez, another 90. And that's pretty good. That's a lot of good games on PS4's first year, for sure. Xbox One only had 1 game, Grand Theft Auto 5, also 97. Now,
yeah, that's kind of telling of the Xbox One's library.
Now, for comparison, okay, Nintendo Switch, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, 97. Super Mario Odyssey, 97. Breath of the Wild is not really an exclusive, but who has a Wii U, right? Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey are essentially exclusives, and they're 2 games that are basically rated higher than pretty much anything that's come out in years. The only thing that's comparable is Grand Theft Auto 5, which, as I was saying before, is on many, many platforms. So that alone, having those 2 games, it's a really big like push for the Switch. Celeste has come out recently. It's a 93. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 92. Bayonetta 2, which is also on the Switch now, 91. Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, 91. It's a great compilation of all the Shovel Knight content. And SteamWorld Heist Ultimate Edition, 90. Now, there are other great games that aren't on this list, right? But these are just like the highly appraised games. It just kind of...
They're the best of the best.
I think it's just kind of like indicating that the level of quality content that's coming onto the Switch, it's obviously at least comparable to the PS4 level, if not beyond it. So, yeah, it's very telling to it's one of the big reasons why the Switch is doing so well. There's tons of great games coming to the system, So, yeah, obviously, that's why the Switch is doing well. Do you guys think otherwise? Is there anything else you want to add to that?
No. Actually, I think Sabbath64 makes a very interesting comment.
Okay.
Where he just straight up says he doesn't think Nintendo will ever get GTA on Switch, which I disagree with, since he
says Nintendo doesn't want to have GTA on the Switch. That's what he's saying. So it's a slightly different, but still, I also disagree. But go on, Will. What were you saying?
Okay.
Oh, I threw you off track. I'm sorry. I'm a sinner.
Well, yeah. I feel like Nintendo, obviously, I guess they've been wanting more not PG content, more mature content on their system. So I disagree with that, just because how they've been trying to get more of that mature stuff on the Switch.
I disagree with that as well. Like, I don't see Nintendo doesn't seem to be shying away from mature games lately, so I don't see why. I mean,
It's got nothing on Doom.
Well, it could. It may not
It's-
even be like the rating thing. I think the argument could be made that there's Nintendo and Rockstar just don't have a good relationship, which is true.
LA Noir is on the Switch.
Yeah.
It's on the Switch.
They got
It
LA
is on
Noir
the
and it
Switch.
sold
But
well on the Switch.
There were
so-
some murmurings that came out not too long ago that there was a publisher that was very upset with Nintendo because Nintendo has yet to make the 64 gigabyte cartridge available. The rumor is that it was Rockstar Studios because they want to put Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Switch, and without having 64 gigabyte card, because that's a huge game with tons of media and voiceovers and music, that it's really hard for them to get the game on the system because of that memory issue. Not because of the graphics, or because the cartridge sort of... Nintendo's going to make the 64 gigabyte cartridge available eventually, but perhaps not as soon for Rockstar's liking, and that could cause an issue.
Rockstar feels is irrelevant.
You think their feelings are
This is
irrelevant?
Yeah. They're owned by Take-Two, and if Take-Two wants the game, Rockstar is gonna, they're owned by Take-Two. They pledge their support, and they don't seem to be like.
Sense.
And they've only had good things to say about the Switch so far. I mean, eventually I feel like personally, eventually GTA 5 will make its way on the Switch. I feel like because I remember someone saying that they wanted it on the Wii U. Like they're gonna try to put it on anything they can. Because it's just so profitable.
I think
Probably
it's gonna come onto the system because it's gonna make money, and it's gonna happen. Yeah. But I do think that there is a sort of difference in philosophy between Rockstar and Nintendo does do things in a kind of an antiquated way sometimes, and that does not rub really well with Rockstar, and that's why I'm pretty sure that's why we heard that Rockstar was upset, because that does create issues for them. It does. I understand that, and I think Nintendo should be pressured to try to accommodate to other developers. Like, Sony does a much better job of accommodating to other developers. Nintendo should do the same.
Isn't that a rumor at best, though? Like, I heard from a birdie across the street that Rockstar was upset. But we see LA Noir, that has blood, that has violence, that has killing, that has alcohol.
A lot of people consider LA Noir to be even more, like, mature than Grand Theft Auto in some ways.
Well, okay, so let me be clear. I don't think it has anything to do with rating or blood or gore or content. I simply think like the whole memory thing is a problem. And there's another problem that the Switch has. Like, it doesn't have a good online platform yet, right? So games like, for example, Payday, there's no real way to have a comfortable voice chat, which is really pertinent to the sort of online structure of that game. So there are things about the Nintendo Switch that aren't up to par with the competition right now, and there are developers that are not happy about that because it does affect how they put their games on the system. Are they still doing it? Yes, because the Switch is a great system that has a lot of advantages, and it's going to make them a lot of money, but still, it's causing them issues. It is, and I think we shouldn't ignore that. The fact that there isn't not a good voice chat solution yet, the fact that there are not 64 gigabyte cartridges available yet, the fact that there's no cloud saving yet. Those are all things that are problems. Like, they are. I disagree with the notion that we should ignore that. I'm not saying you guys are ignoring it. I'm just saying that I think that's the real reason why we may not see Grand Theft Auto on the Switch, but I think we will, despite that, because of how well it could do on the platform.
But they're making the 64 gigabyte.
They are. It's just taking longer.
I think are coming out 2019. They were supposed to come out 2018, but I think there was a problem with the manufacturer itself. I don't remember exactly why.
The thing that I was trying to tackle is, since this kind of derailed a tiny bit, is that I know for a fact that Nintendo wants GTA 5 on the Switch.
I 100% agree with you.
It's literally greatest selling game of all time. So there's no possible way Nintendo isn't clawing at Rockstar or Take-Two's door for this game. And it's still in the top 10s of best-selling games of the month in 2018. And it released in like what?
Yeah.
It was way before 2018.
And a portable Grand Theft Auto 5? That's going to be insane.
Oh, people would eat it up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Nintendo wants it on the system. Rockstar wants it on the system too because it's going to make them money. I'm simply stating that there are some elements at hand that probably are causing some
I
friction.
wasn't responding to you. I was responding to
right.
Sabbath.
So Sabbath, I think our general consensus, at least among us, is that we think that it's probably going to happen. Especially because the amount of business that can be made there, it's just like a money thing that it can totally happen. Especially considering Grand Theft Auto ran on 360 and PS3, so like, there's no reason it can't come to Switch.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, just like he said, to his credit, he did say it's just a matter of time. Oh no, he said we'll just have to wait. Well, yeah. I'm gonna remix that and say it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, well, I mean, time will tell, right? So we'll see what happens for sure. So Jeremy Bins, before we move on, he asked me a question. Andres, next Zelda 2D, Link Between Worlds. I'm actually really excited about the rumor that there could be a new 3D Zelda game coming to 3DS, which isn't exactly a 2D Zelda. So I guess that doesn't exactly answer your question, but I think there's a decent. I like the rumor about there being a game that's kind of, gonna have a wide scope. I think it's supposed to be like a remake of what was it? I forget the rumor. It was like a remake of the Link's Awakening.
Yeah, that's what it is.
A 3D remake of Link's Awakening, or maybe it'll be a 2D style Link's Awakening. Either way, I'm excited about the possibility of that. But about
I'm excited about the possibility of the rumor actually being not 3DS but Switch.
Oh, there's a rumor for that?
No,
or
but
that's
it should be.
Okay.
I want it to be. Yeah.
I'm just salty.
Yeah, it should be for Switch.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think it's an interesting question, Jeremy, though, because the thing is, we're talking about a rumored 3D Zelda for 3DS, right? But what about 2D Zelda? What is next for 2D Zelda? I think the future of 2D Zelda might be, I don't want to say indie game, but I could see it be kind of like smaller installments, like $20, $30 games. Because think of it like this, like, I mean, technically a $30 game is still, I mean, if you go back to like the early 2000s, like Minish Cap, for example, probably sold for $30 on the Game Boy Advance, So I could see them making $20 to $30 2D Zelda games in the future. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think they can possibly release a 2D Zelda, sell it for $60, and for that to be a commercial success. Like, one, that's going to kind of, people are going to have these expectations. When they see Zelda for $60, they want a whole open world, and when they see 2D sprites, there's that expectation that I think, kind of affects how much money you're willing to put down on a game. So I think we will see 2D Zelda. I don't think it's dead. I just think we might see it kind of sort of packaged kind of like something like Celeste, like a really good 2D game that you should get for $20 or $30, and that I think will work out.
I think it will be $40. I think it will be kind of the price of like a 3DS game, about $40, 35 to 40. That's what I would think. Because Nintendo likes to keep their premium prices, so that's probably what it would be. I think Aonuma said that they wanted to make 2D Zelda games on the Switch, so I think we'll see them.
Right, so my problem with it being $40 is this, right? So on the 3DS, it worked a little better because you bought them, like, they were these single entities, like, that was the biggest kind of game you would get on the 3DS, right? But on the Switch, you have games that are $60, like Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey, and when you see that that's $60 and then you see a 2D style, I'm not saying that it actually makes sense, but what I am saying is that, like, there is this perception from a lot of consumers that, hey, this is not worth $40, you know what I mean? So when they see it side by side on the eShop, that's just the way I perceive it. So I feel like
there might be a little bit of like the mobile audience who are like $10 for a game. That's outrageous.
Right. So I think that they might need to aim for a lower price, like $20 to $30. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
They may even figure out a different pay structure for it. What if it becomes episodic? You guys may hate the idea of that, and I think if it's like, if it's in the style of A Link to the Past or something like that, definitely, yeah, episodic would be terrible. But if it's more of like kind of like a Four Swords kind of style kind of game, I can see that being episodic. But then again, that is a spin-off, so it's not really 2D Zelda. So I think $30 would be the sweet spot, technically. In my opinion, like if they could hit 30 for 2D Zelda, that would be great. But at the same time, I understand it's still kind of a big game, so we'll see what happens.
I feel like Like I agree, like with you, Andres. Like the casual consumer, I guess, is what I call them. They are very like relentless when it comes to like judging stuff. Because I remember I was at GameStop and like this lady, she like looked at the Switch and she was like, "Well, that's ugly. That doesn't look like the other systems and stuff like that." And I was like, "Wow." And she was like, "Oh, $300 for a tablet and this and that." And I was just like, "Wow, that's how some people might look at that." But to be honest, I just don't think Nintendo cares that much. Like I'm sure they saw it and they were like, "Oh, this controller kind of looks like a puppy." I guess people won't like that. Throw it out there anyways. It's like I don't think they cared that much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll just leave it up to Nintendo's marketing team to figure it out. I do, like I said, I think 2D Zelda's coming eventually. I don't know when. I would say definitely we'll hear about a 2D Zelda game at least by the end of 2019. Like, you know, so we could hear about it this year. I'm just saying, like, you know, I don't know when, but I feel like a 2D Zelda is imminent before the next 3D Zelda. So, yeah.
I feel like a 2D Mario is coming as well. Like,
But
I feel like they aren't gonna.
What could delay that though is the whole Mario Maker thing. Like, have we seen an actual 2D Mario game since Mario Maker? If you don't count,
you make a good point.
Not counting Mario Run, okay, because that's mobile. I don't think we've seen an official 2D mainline 2D Mario, you know, a new Super Mario Brothers sort of line kind of game since Mario Maker.
But usually there will be a new power up for a new Mario, and that's usually what sells the new Mario games.
Right.
As far as the 2D Mario goes.
I could see a Mario Maker being... Maybe they add more of a narrative. Maybe a Mario Maker 2 on the Switch could be what they do next for 2D Mario. I think that has more sales potential.
Yeah.
I mean, like 2D Mario sells regardless, so there's that to consider.
I feel like usually I just feel like Kimishima would rather just milk Mario, because like, you know, we just got Odyssey and then like right after we announced Mario Tennis and stuff like I just feel like, well, Nintendo in general, that would be smart since.
And we got Mario Kart too as well.
Yeah, Mario is the most valuable property on the planet, and he's like the most recognizable character in the world. So
yeah. I want me some 2D Zelda games, though. I love them. As much as I love the 3D Zelda games, I also love me some 2D Zelda. And not to go off on a tangent, because we could probably talk about this for a while, and we probably want to move on pretty quick here, but I want me Four Swords Adventure 2 on the Switch, because I feel like the system is perfect for it.
I'm not going to complain, so...
The dual Joy-Cons, I think that'd be cool.
So, let me answer a couple more questions. What were you saying, Will?
Is that just plot one off and be like, oh, you want to be Yellow Link? Not Yellow Link. What am I talking about? Red Link?
Yeah. Only I'm Yellow Link on Discord. So,
that's what I thought about.
So just to answer a couple questions before we move on to the next topic. Sabbath, you asked if we think there's going to be any amiibo for Kirby Star Allies. Definitely. I think there's definitely going to be a new Kirby amiibo for that. We haven't got any announcements for that yet. There should be.
Not that I know of.
Muscular King DDD has got to happen. Along with a few things.
Definitely. DDD amiibo.
Especially since Kirby Star Allies... I mean, I'm interested in this Kirby game, so I'm probably going to check it out. But Kirby does appeal to a younger audience, right? So they really like toys, and amiibo are in the toy sort of realm, so they definitely want to capitalize on that potential. Like, if there's a game to skip amiibo on, it's not Kirby Star Allies. So definitely expect amiibo for that game. I would be shocked if there wasn't.
Yeah. Kirby is,
So
Sabbath, or sorry.
No, you go.
He wants to know if what we have, I think we all have. He wants to know if we heard about the Spiral trilogy coming as a time exclusive to PS4.
I think we mentioned that briefly last week.
It's still not confirmed yet, but it's very. I think Emily Rogers, who when she says something, it's like 90% of the time true. I think a lot of people believe that this is happening, a Spyro trilogy. PS4 or Switch, I'm really excited about that, for sure. Obviously, I think it'd be a great fit on Switch. Any game is a great fit on Switch, basically. But, I want to try it out, man.
And that's just another. Oh wait, I know what Brandon's talking about. We mentioned the Crash Insane trilogy, which is definitely coming to Switch.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
we mentioned that,
yeah.
and we talked about how awesome it would be if there were to be a Spyro game.
That's
And then
what
literally,
the very next day. The very next day was rumored.
yes,
Yeah,
literally
I
the next day, the
I
rumor came
added
out.
you on Twitter about that. Like, oh,
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Andres
like
knows
that-
the way.
I don't care about Crash, but I
That
do
was-
care about Spyro. Like, when I was a kid, I saw that, and I was like, this looks really cool. I got to play it for a little bit, but I never owned a PlayStation 1, so I didn't play it that much. And it's just
Yeah.
one of those games that, like, I was just, this looks so awesome. And I remember as a kid, like, I had no bias. Like, I just thought, I saw a game system, I saw games, and I thought it was really cool. You know?
Oh, it was a magical time to be alive with no biases and
Right.
console wars.
I think
on
I
a
started
personal
becoming
level.
biased in the 21st century when people were like, "Oh, you're stupid for having a GameCube. Oh, the GameCube is gay or something," which is so dumb,
Oh my gosh.
right? But that was said all the time,
Yeah.
like, and it was that like
Yeah,
it was,
that would just be another PlayStation mascot. Well, not literally, but like he is widely viewed as a PlayStation. Like the same thing I said about Crash applies
Yeah.
here as well.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I mean, technically they are on PlayStation mascots, but they had like certain deals going on at the time. Now,
Yeah,
but
that's
now
what
they
I
can
said.
be on any platform. Exactly, Will. And Switch or PS4, I want to give Spyro finally a try. It's one of those games that I really wanted to play as a kid, and hopefully this rumor is true. Probably is. We're gonna play it soon. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to try it
Let's
out because
start.
I never got to play it when it was out. I remember the only time I've ever seen that game was like at Goodwill. For some reason they were advertising it there at Goodwill, or for some reason it was on the TV, and I was like, that's a weird game, and then I never saw it again. So, really interesting, weird way to get learn about that game.
Fortnite is definitely coming to the Switch. I was sure.
I'd agree.
Wait, okay.
I was responding to. I was responding to a comment.
Yeah.
He said, "Is Fortnite coming to Switch?" There's no way it's not.
Yeah, I can see it happening. And Sabbath, what's the next Nintendo character I see having their own game? I think Kid Icarus. But just kind
I'd
of
hope.
to throw a bone
I
for
would
somebody, Waluigi. I'm throwing a bone, but I think more likely Kid Icarus.
We still need that Wario and Waluigi game. Instead of Mario and Luigi, give us Wario and Waluigi. That's what we need.
Wario and
Needs to
Waluigi
happen.
RPG.
Yes. Needs to happen.
Yeah. So let's move on because I want to move quickly and we're not. So whatever.
As usual.
Yeah, as usual. Now.
It is a
The
podcast.
next topic, yeah, that's my English right there. Capcom. Apparently, Capcom is kind of. I read the article and I'm sort of like wording it in a more positive way, but apparently Capcom is looking into adapting Monster Hunter World for the Switch. Now, people are begging for Monster Hunter World to come to the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo fans are not new to Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter has been on Nintendo system the last like 5 or 6 years and doing really well with Nintendo systems, especially the 3DS. And Monster Hunter World was not announced for the Switch, and now the game's come out, it's done pretty well, but people still want it for the Switch. And of course, Monster Hunter Double Cross was made for the Switch, but only came out in Japan. It was not ported over. Switch owners want a Monster Hunter game, and Capcom has taken note. They've said they're looking into adapting Monster Hunter World for the Switch. In so many ways, basically in so many words, they said the game in its current form cannot run the Switch. And I don't disbelieve that. The game does, Brandon, you were saying it when we were chatting the other day, that it does seem like the game was kind of designed for more of a 4K console. So even
it runs really bad on like the OG Xbox One and the PS4. Like a lot of frame drops, and it's only 30 frames per second, and the resolution is apparently really low in motion, so it's really blurry. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not unplayable, but it definitely does not run solid.
So, if they were to make a Switch version, which would have even more trouble running it than a PS4 or an Xbox One, they would have to change it up. That would require, developing more assets, new assets, changing things around, not just scaling back details. Like, they would have to change around assets. So, I'm not saying I don't expect the game to come. What I've been saying is I think what could happen is that how most Monster Hunter games work is that when they create a new Monster Hunter game, they're gonna sort of like re-release that game like once or twice again, and just add like content, maybe a slightly different narrative, more enemies, more areas, more weapons, more armor, more bosses, which is pretty much the entire game. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a Monster Hunter World Ultimate a year or so from now, and there will be a Switch version announced as well, and that version will be adapted a bit more for the Switch. I could see that happening, or they could be developing a whole other kind of Monster Hunter for the Switch. But what do you guys think? Is it one or the other?
In that same article that they were talking about it having trouble running on Switch, I think they said that they wanted to make something specifically, like they wanted to make things that are adapted specifically for the Switch. So it seemed that they were kind of wording that they were making something specifically for Switch instead of porting it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something made for the ground up, like an exclusive Monster Hunter on Switch.
Yeah, that's a possibility as well. It could be a ground up whole new Monster Hunter line for Switch. I could see that, and it could be more of the classic style, right? While this Monster Hunter World is kind of slightly casualized. So I think we're going to see Monster Hunter on the Switch. Like, that's happening. I mean, there is already Double Cross. It just wasn't ported.
Capcom has been, it's just weird how Capcom is treating the Switch. They're like, no. And then they just throw a game on there. We already know that you've worked closely with Nintendo on the Switch. Like, I really want to know what they're going for here. Like, is this some type of like sick joke for them? Hey, let's dangle it in front of their face. We know they want it. It's obviously coming. Like Andres said, like they're Japanese. The Switch is killing it in Japan. Nintendo is Japanese. They have a great relationship. There's just no reason that Monster Hunter, in some form or fashion, isn't on Switch. And I mean a westernized, unlike Double Cross.
Yeah, like something that's localized that we can actually play in America for sure, in English. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But when will we see it? I don't know. But like I said, it could either, my opinion, it could either be like kind of like a Monster Hunter World Ultimate or a whole new ground up new Monster Hunter made specifically for Switch. One or the other. Now, here's the thing about that kind of irks me, though. Because remember during the Wii era, we never got Soul Calibur on Switch. Like, we never got Soul Calibur 5 or 4. We got Soul Calibur Legends, I think that was the name. And instead of it being, like, you know, the awesome Soul Calibur fighting style, it was a third-person action-adventure. And that may sound cool, but it was not executed really well. It had, obviously, a lower budget. It was a okay game, but it was just like, we got this instead of the actual Soul Calibur. So I hope it's not something like that where we get, you know, an offshoot spin-off of Monster Hunter and it's just kind of like, you know, lame. No, like it needs to be true Monster Hunter, right? Like,
I don't see that happening, to be honest. I mean, the mainline games were on systems so much less powerful than the Switch is, so I don't see why they couldn't just keep doing what they were doing with better graphics. So I don't really see that happening. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I hear you. And in fact, I mean, I think, when was the last time there was a Monster Hunter game made specifically for a home console? Was it Monster Hunter Tri?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah. So,
I don't know exactly, but it's been like since like the PS2 or something, I think.
So
I think it's PS2. Yeah.
Well, there was Monster Hunter Tri for the Wii,
but that was ported from the.
But it was ported afterwards. Monster Hunter Tri was first on the Wii.
Oh, was it?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, then probably that one.
Yeah, there may have been a PS3 one though.
I don't think so. I know for a fact it has not been a PlayStation system since the PS2.
Okay, but and the point I'm trying to make is simply this: there's been a whole bunch of Monster Hunters over the years on different platforms, but the point I'm saying is that there hasn't been like a big mainline Monster Hunter comes on home consoles way less often. It doesn't come on handhelds, so we may not see Monster Hunter, you know. Like, I could, you know what I mean? Like, Monster Hunter World could be like that game that comes every, like, 3, 4, 5 years. And then there could be another Monster Hunter that's being made side by side that's meant to be sort of like a game that comes out, like, every year or two. Which is what we've been getting on the 3DS. That could be moving to the Switch still. which is what you've been saying, Brandon. So, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if I even want to see Monster Hunter Worlds on the Switch that much, because at least not in its current form, because that barely is a comparable game on the Xbox One and PS4.
Right, they would have to create basically a ground-up new engine to run Monster
Yeah.
Hunter World on the Switch. Well, it could run, it just wouldn't be great. Like, if they created a ground-up new engine, it could look amazing, you know,
Mhm.
but
Probably
it would,
optimize it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
They would need new assets.
Yeah.
Because Doom
Probably.
isn't new assets. Doom only did essentially scale back details until it could run on Switch. Like, what we're talking about is not scaling back details. It's literally creating new polygons, new textures. You know, like building a new engine for on Switch. That's what I could see happening in the future. That's basically what the interview suggests. So
Because
yeah,
if they port it right now, it'd be blurry, and I think that the frame rate would just be bad. I mean, if you scaled it back, it would just look bad. There's no point at that point making a new game, even if it's less technically advanced. It would look better because it'd be cleaner. It wouldn't be like sub 720p with bad frame rate, which is almost what you're getting right now on the Xbox One. So,
right. I mean, so like, No Filter Nintendo Podcast seems to kind of agree with us that there'll be a new Monster game exclusive for Switch, and then maybe a definitive edition released for PS4 and Xbox One. Yeah, I can see something like that. I definitely think I think we all agree Monster Hunter is coming to the Switch eventually. It's just kind of like what and when. So we'll see.
I just don't want to hear any more of like, but it's too hard. Like money talks. Like you know, I don't want to hear any more fanboys. Switch is so weak, it can't run it. It's like, well, Switch is making money, so I guarantee they'll find a way.
Nintendo Switch is not a potato.
guarantee.
This just in.
what did you say?
Nintendo Switch is not a potato.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's no slouch
It's a
for a
beast
tablet.
for what it is. It's a beast.
Right. Yeah. So I don't want to get into the graphics
Yeah.
discussion for the 17th time in a row.
Right.
Maybe we'll do it later, save it for later. But I think it's time to move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
So there is, I guess it's technically a rumor, right? But apparently Disney could be looking into changing the developers for Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 1 and 2 were published and developed by EA, and now apparently we're hearing murmurings that Disney is looking towards another company to make the Battlefront series. The names that have come up are Ubisoft and Activision, which both probably could do something good with that. I could see Activision doing a great job with it, actually, especially consider what they do with Call of Duty. They could not saying to make a Call of Duty clone with Star Wars skins, but they could probably run that franchise better than EA, you know? So, I see that happening. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I feel like Star Wars can be so much more than what they're doing with it right now. Like, they're just making the Battlefield games, which are good, except now because EA sucks. But I feel like I want a Star Wars adventure game. I want Star Wars 1313 to not be canceled. Please, can that happen?
Maybe you should play KOTOR.
I don't know what that is.
Look it up. There's like this adventure RPG Star Wars games that came out earlier in the 21st century. They're really good.
Force Unleashed was nice on the Wii. I liked that game.
There was a time when there were better Star Wars games. Yeah, like there was KOTOR, there was Rogue Squadron.
Oh yes, Rogue Squadron for the Switch needs to happen.
Jeremy, Skyrim is just really ugly in general to me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I will agree that the Link, it's not really Link, it's Link wearing the clothes. The dude in the trailer looks nasty compared to normal Link, but that's not really.
The hair in Skyrim is so bad.
The characters in Skyrim, no matter what platform you're watching it on, look like trash.
They do.
So, that's a Skyrim.
It's just a bad engine for the characters.
It's just an Elder Scrolls thing, or like I should say a Skyrim thing, because it's just an engine from 2011.
It's a very old engine. Even though the scenery kind of looks nice now that they have all the new lighting effects and stuff, it's still an old game. at its core.
Yeah, but but they've been using that same engine for a while now, right? Don't they use it for like Fallout and Skyrim or something? I think I heard like someone say like they just use the same engine for like everything.
I think they have the new version of the engine for the new games, though.
I mean, they kind of update it, so yeah.
It was terrible from the jump, is what I hear though.
Yeah.
It's like you updated garbage into slightly less smelly garbage.
Right. So to kind of bring things back to the topic, though. So Disney, I think Disney doesn't want the bad public image that EA is sort of bringing to them. And I remember when I heard that some of the higher ups at Disney spoke with some of the higher ups at EA, and there were structural changes that were made immediately to Battlefront right before release because of the whole pay-to-win structure, or whatever you want to call it, microtransactions. And EA saw the bad press about it. Disney saw the bad press about it, and they made EA make some changes. And I think Disney saw that the way EA runs things is not the way they want to be presented to the public. So I believe this rumor. Like, it makes sense. Like, going with Activision, I think Activision is their best bet. Ubisoft also works. They're pretty good at family-friendly stuff, too. So, but Activision, they know how to carry a franchise and reuse it all the time and still make, like, Call of Duty. Like, no, people don't, yeah, Call of Duty, say what you will about it, but they come out with a game every year. Yes, they do, different developers. But they have maintained an audience and make tons of money as a huge online focus. Like, it's a very similar structure to what I think EA wants for Battlefront, but they don't have nearly as much negative publicity. And Disney probably would like that.
But I don't want, I don't want them to just make Battlefront games every year.
Every 2 years.
I feel like especially now because what was it? The Last Jedi was extremely polarizing as far as like Star Wars movies go. So I'm sure like a lot of people are just very, very cynical about Star Wars right now in general. So when they go and play that game, it's like, see, Star Wars is trash.
So wait, are you talking about the last Star Wars movie? You think
Star Wars 8 is awesome? How dare?
I just said it was polarized. Like,
there
are a lot of people that like it and a lot of people that don't. I haven't seen the movie yet. I haven't seen the movie yet personally.
Good. It's super good.
But
I mean, I'm not a big Star Wars fan. Like, I like Star Wars, but I don't love Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
So, like, when I saw it, I liked it. I didn't love it. It was okay. So, I don't know. I don't feel like it's polarizing, but I'm not a hardcore Star Wars fan, so, you know.
I'm probably more hardcore than you, but I'm not super diehard.
What I mean by polarizing is that a lot of people like it and a lot of people don't.
Yeah, it's controversial.
It's not my opinion that it's polarizing. That is a fact. So what I was trying to get. It's like there are a lot of people that don't like it and a lot of people that do. It's like 50-50 hate and love.
Yeah, my problem with Activision taking it is, like I said, I think they would just make an online multiplayer shooter every year. It would be annoying.
Yeah.
And I'd like, Star Wars could be so much better.
I would hate that, but I feel like I agree with Andreas. Like when Disney gets a whiff of that, it's like, holy crap, they make the same freaking game every year and get that much.
But, No Filter Nintendo Podcast thinks that Ubisoft would be the better fit. Like, they could do it too, you know?
Yeah, I'd probably like Ubisoft to take it more.
Yeah. So, Arushan just brought up, we're done with this topic, right? So, let's, Disney's probably changing publishers. We'll see who in the future. So, before we move on to this topic, Arushan brought up something that I guess we could address. Apparently, a YouTube streamer who streams Nintendo games and stuff and other cool stuff, Sam Koopa, died. There was a car accident and he passed away, unfortunately. So, you know, it's unfortunate. And I don't really want to dwell on this because, well, one, I don't know the guy too much, obviously I'm sure his family and friends are very sad. His followers are probably really sad. It's unfortunate. I just think it's, you know, I'm sorry that happened, but at the same time, it's interesting. Life is short, so cherish it. But it's interesting to me because he kind of has like a bit of a mini legacy out available to the public. Like all of his content is there, you know. So I checked out his channel, and he streams mostly games. He's mostly a streamer from what I saw, And it's just interesting to me that, you know, he kind of has left this legacy. And I'm not saying that I want to die and I want people to come and watch my content afterwards. I just, you know, at least there's that. At least he created content out there, so, you know, yeah, I don't want to dwell on this, but
Yeah.
may he rest in peace, and I send out my best wishes to his family and friends. So, yeah. Now, let's move on to the next topic. Alright, so Doc Trey81 is at it again, looking up at all those LinkedIn profiles, and apparently he found something interesting. Again, from another Bandai Namco dude, a lead online programmer, if I'm remembering the title correctly. And basically, that's what that's it. Like, the fact that a lead online programmer is working on this game, that's basically what he surmised. He's thinking that there's got to be online multiplayer, and other people seem to agree with him enough that sites like Go Nintendo are reporting on it and using him as a source. So, I am a bit more skeptical about this, but assuming there is a lead online programmer, you have to think there's going to be some sort of online functionality with Metroid Prime. I don't think this rumor, right, we're calling it a rumor, right, because, I mean, there probably is a dude there probably is an online programmer working on Metroid Prime 4 with Bandai Namco. That's pretty much probably true, but the question is, what does that mean, you know, and that's why it's just kind of more of a rumor about it, multiplayer being on Metroid Prime. It's not really confirmation of that, but, you know, we've argued about this before. I mean, people are calling other people idiots about the idea that Metroid Prime could have multiplayer, and I, to a certain extent, understand that, actually, because Metroid Prime is a single-player adventure game, and if you make a multiplayer game, that takes away from it, because that requires assets. It does. So, if there's actually an online multiplayer component coming, that does make me a little concerned, because I wonder how much time and effort is being put into the single-player. However, I do think Nintendo understands what's important about Metroid Prime, and I think they're going to make sure that enough time and effort and assets are being put into the single-player adventure aspect of the game. And maybe that's why Bandai Namco is helping out, because they want a lot of developers working on this game to make sure it can have both an amazing single-player that's not short or small by any stretch of the imagination, and an expansive online multiplayer. Right? Maybe. Or maybe it's not even online multiplayer. Maybe it's just like, you know, online connectivity, like the Wii Connect 24 with Metroid Prime 3. So, you know, obviously we don't know what's going on. But I think they can manage to have both, but they're going to need to have a huge, huge team, which is why, you know, if Bandai Namco is working with on the game, which, I mean, they probably are, it would kind of make sense. What are your guys' thoughts on this?
I think that it could be very beneficial to the Metroid franchise to have an online multiplayer mode. I think it would be really cool. Metroid, just like, I don't know, with the things you can do, just feels like it would be a very fun online mode that you could make out of that. And just, people love online shooters. It's one of the most popular genres that exist. So Metroid, well, it hasn't sold terribly on its other iterations. It hasn't been a huge seller. So maybe they want to have, maybe not a huge multiplayer online mode, but maybe like enough to make people satisfied with it. Maybe add some DLC later down the line, and that could, you know, in for more content if they want to really flesh it out. Maybe they're starting off small and they'll add stuff down the road, maybe free updates. Who knows what they could do? Because, you know, this is the age of the internet. Everything can connect. You can just throw a patch in there anytime you want. Be like, hey, new multiplayer maps in Metroid Prime. Go at it. You know, they don't have to necessarily, one doesn't necessarily mean the other is going to be better or worse. And I think definitely, since this is mainly a single player game, Nintendo's definitely going to focus on that first and foremost. But I think if they do get out some kind of cool online multiplayer mode, that could really help it out. And
here's the thing, right? I mean, Metroid Prime, exactly, like, it has not sold as well as Metroid Prime fans feel it should. Like, I think Metroid Prime deserves to be in the same breath as Breath of the Wild or Mario Odyssey.
Yeah, for sure.
But for whatever reason, it just doesn't seem to bring in as large of an audience. And an online multiplayer section or segment or whatever you want to call it could help. That could be one solution. But it's not the only solution. I just want to make that clear. And And if it sacrifices the single player experience, that would be really disappointing. But I think it's possible to do both, right? And hearing that Bandai Namco is working on the game, if online multiplayer is coming, I do believe they have a large enough team to make this go. I mean, look at it. Look at Smash Bros. For Wii U and Smash Bros. For 3DS. That game has so much content in it. It's insane. There's an obscene amount of content in that game. And what happened? Nintendo worked with Bandai Namco to get it together. So Nintendo and Bandai Namco working together to create another huge game filled with tons of content, I could see that. Metroid Prime 4, they can make an online multiplayer work. Especially like you said, if they just come up with like a base structure, and in the future they can expand upon it with DLC. And I would love it, actually, if they were to structure the single-player campaign in a way where your percent completed could maybe give you some more items or weapon sets or whatever, right? If they want to go that route. And that would encourage more players to play through the single-player campaign of Metroid Prime, which is so amazing, you know? And, yeah, and I could see if... Let's assume online multiplayer is actually coming. If they did do that, I wouldn't want them to focus on the game so much that there would be like 8, 16 maps or something like that, but maybe like somewhere between 2 and 4. Okay, 2 might be too little, but 3 or 4 maps in the beginning, you know, right? But make sure there's like at least a 30 to 40 hour like single player Metroid Prime campaign. Actually, 30 to 40 hours in this day and age is kind of short if you think about it. Like, I remember Wind Waker and Metroid Prime and Sunshine, you could beat all those games in less than 20 hours. And now, you know, Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey are easily, and Xenoblade 2 are games that take well over 100 hours. So, probably the game should be even bigger than that. I don't know. That's kind of crazy. What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't think that... I feel like the worst case scenario... Well, not the absolute worst case scenario. Like, I agree with Brandon in which, like, there's no way that Nintendo isn't going to give you a massive single player... Because, like, Nintendo is that gameplay company. Like, they have to maintain that status quo of the top of the line. They still are, and I don't think they've ever been taken off of that pedestal of top of the line. So I don't really think there's any possible way that Nintendo is going to let either one suffer if they're going after both. And I do think it is worth mentioning the assets of the game and how big the team might have to be for like an online and a single player campaign, but I don't really think that's held a lot of other games with both components, and both are really good and really fleshed out back. So I mean, yeah. I think that if they tackle something like that, because like I remember Entertainment Gaming Daily, if I got his name right, he mentioned a good point, or at least he compared it to Halo, and like he did say like that might be what separates Halo from Metro, in which it has a major multiplayer aspect about it. And I feel like if they actually sell it to gamers like, hey, dude bro, you can have a dude bro time with your dude bro friends, like I feel like it could sell even better. Like if they feel like that is the thing that wasn't clicking with gamers before, then they're definitely going to put all of their effort into something that they feel will actually appeal to that crowd.
Yeah. Hey, there's some noise in the background. I'm not sure whose side it's coming from.
It's probably me. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Yeah, but ideally for me, like, assuming there's online multiplayer, like this is how I could envision it, right? Oh yeah, by the way, Jeremy, there's totally story to Metroid, and No Filter Nintendo Podcast, you're a monster for being able to 100% Mario Odyssey in 55 hours, all 999 moons. You're a monster. I mean that in a good way. Mm-hmm. So,
that's insane.
Yeah. I think most people, though, will take a lot longer to get to, completely 100%. But my ideal, I guess, Metroid Prime 4 sort of setup is, one, you guys have to watch my Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey mean for Metroid Prime video. Just check out my channel. I explain a lot of like the concepts I think we could see in that game by looking at what they accomplished with Breath of the Wild and Metroid. There's interviews and such. Check it out if you're interested. But anyways, like I could see Metroid Prime being like a 50 to 60 hour campaign, maybe focusing a little bit more on that horror sort of like element, like because after all, Metroid Prime is inspired by Alien, or Metroid is. Like if they kind of invest themselves a little bit more into that, focused on the atmosphere. And maybe not be as huge of an adventure as Breath of the Wild if you go and get all 120 shrines, but it could still end up being like a 50 to 60 hour campaign, and then maybe they create like a very solid, very highly polished online multiplayer section, but like a mode, but like not like 18 or 16 maps, but just like a 4 maps or whatever, right? And in the future, they can expand upon that with DLC. But, you know, make sure the big draw is a single player, but still have a very addictive, very polished, well put together online multiplayer. If they have a huge team working on that together, I think that would work out. I think a lot of fans would be really happy with that.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be. I don't think it's like the one reason why I think that the online multiplayer component to the game might be real is because I feel like, you know, there's no reason that this is just going to be standard Metroid Prime 4, move on. I wouldn't be mad if it was like that. Is perfectly fine. That's perfectly acceptable.
I think they have to push this. They're gonna have to do something to take the series to another level. Like if it's just Metroid Prime 3, just like a different story, that's not gonna cut it. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think they're gonna take such a simple route.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna do something to evolve the series. Like if you look what they did with Breath of the Wild, look what they did with Mario Odyssey. They sort of broke down what made their predecessors great, and try to they revisited that, and then they kind of recreated it in a different way and push the series to another height. I think they're gonna do something similar to Metroid Prime, right? And I don't think it's gonna just be it's not gonna be the same. It's gonna be more. It's gonna be an evolution. I hope, I believe that. So,
but yeah, as I was trying to say, I don't think it's gonna be standard. I would be fine if it was just standard, but I feel like they're gonna have to add something like the multiplayer aspect to that whole other level. Like I was saying earlier, there's something about Metroid that hasn't clicked with a large fan base. So I feel like, taking what Brandon said into account, the first-person shooter is probably, or debatably, like one of the most profitable genres, in recent gaming memory. So they're definitely going to have to add something like that and advertise it in. It's definitely going to be an unorthodox.
You know what'd be really cool? I just had an idea. So what if they added
a given?
Yeah, but you got me thinking though, Will. Like, what if they didn't do like a straight up like deathmatch kind of thing? What if they did something more like a horde mode? Like, imagine you're working with other Federation troopers and you were just attacked by endless Metroids, and you have to fight back endless Metroids, like kind of like zombies but Metroid style. Maybe you have to. They can make it really interesting actually. Like, what if like you guys are stuck on a actual like pirate base, like a space base, right? And you guys are running out of oxygen, so you have to find ways to manage the oxygen level in space, and you guys are being just swarmed by Metroids and space pirates, and it's really creepy, and you have a team of 4, or maybe a team of 8 or 16, right? So it's kind of more like a team survival game, and that would be like, that would be online multiplayer, but not like what everyone would expect, and I think it'd be really awesome, especially if, like what I'm hoping for, they do go more for that horror sort of style. So if they have like a horde kind of mode, but like they have their own take on it, where you have to sort of work together as like an 8-16-man Federation Force sort of team to manage like a space pirate base, so keep your oxygen, survive from all the Metroids and pirates coming out. Like, I don't know, I think that'd be really cool, but that's just an idea. Just came up in my head.
I mean, I don't see why there can't be multiple modes. And something that I was gonna bring up, you say that you think there only might be 3 to 4 levels. I think there might be more than that. I think if they are using Unreal Engine 4, like there's like a lot of people think there, I don't think that's actually confirmed. I think that was a rumor. I went back and watched the initial trailer and I didn't see any mention of Unreal Engine 4, but maybe it was confirmed in something else. But if they are, I've heard from other companies that use Unreal Engine 4 to make shooters and stuff, that making levels with Unreal Engine, multiplayer levels for Unreal Engine is like super easy. Like, it's like really, really easy to make them. So you could get a bunch of different levels out pretty quickly. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's more levels than you're thinking. But maybe they'll go for more modes instead. It's hard to say. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it wouldn't hurt to have multiple, modes for the game as well. Like, I feel like if Nintendo, like, even if they don't try to innovate that little factor, like I doubt Nintendo's just gonna be like, all right, boots on the ground, Metroid, there you go, that's the end. Like I doubt they're gonna do that.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. Like there's gonna be this. I think this Metroid's gonna be pretty special. I think Nintendo understands that they need to do different things to really take it to another level, and they're gonna do that. What exactly that will be, we'll find out hopefully by E3. So that's me sort of ending this topic. I don't know if you guys realize, because I want to move on to this final topic here. If you guys have anything else to add to this whole Metroid sort of topic, save the questions, and when we're getting close to the end of this last topic here, I'll try and address them. So, Will, you brought this up earlier. That's why we were able to come up with this topic and the title for this discussion. What if Nintendo never existed? So, Will, how about you talk about your idea, this premise of it, and then I'll sort of like put my, I guess, my take on it afterwards, because this was your idea.
All right. So I was thinking about doing this for like one of my videos, and like Andres just said, what if Nintendo never existed? So like we take Gen 3, which was Nintendo's introduction, and they pretty much just saved the entire gaming landscape with their Nintendo Entertainment System and stuff. What if we just completely erased them from existence? Like, what would happen then? And if we went to Gen 4, let's just say Nintendo existed for Gen 3, but then just disappeared off the face of the planet for Gen 4. Like, their influence was there for the first gen, but then they just disappeared. Hopefully I made that clear. Yeah,
so that's an interesting take, but so when I thought of this question, I sort of thought, what would happen if Nintendo never existed, period? Like, where would the industry be? So we could sort of talk about this from different angles. So first, how about let's try that. Let's try and talk about how would things be if Nintendo never existed, period, ever.
So Gen 3, yeah.
Right. So initially, what happened, right? There was the gaming crash. Atari was on top of the world, but there was a whole bunch of other competitors, right? And there's so much competition, a lot of low quality hardware, a lot of shoddy software, on shelves that people stopped buying because it was all a mess. It's kind of basically think of it like shovelware, just sort of oversaturated the market and people stopped buying, and a whole bunch of companies and stores did not want to sell video game systems because it became commercially dead, and it's for a little, there's a small period where the game industry was done. So what if there was not a Nintendo to sort of resurrect the video game industry, to sort of create a different image of it, to sort of market it as more of a toy than anything else? Then there may not even be video games in the way we like it. It might not video game consoles, at least. It might have all just been PC gaming, and that could have been it. There would be nothing else. It'd be PC gaming, PC Master Race everywhere. And
I feel like gaming would be a lot more niche, since the majority of where they saved it was here in the West. So I feel like there will be a whole lot less gamers. You said, that percentage of that Nintendo didn't save would end up going to PC, since consoles are a thing of the past.
Right, because Nintendo they forged a path for other companies to come into the fold as well. So, I don't think Sega would have ever able to become, mainstream. Maybe they would have. Maybe Sega would have been the big dog after a few years, because they were dabbling with arcades. Because arcades were still a thing, right? So maybe the arcade industry, maybe eventually the video game industry would have come back to home consoles again. Maybe that was an eventuality no matter what, right? But it would not have been Nintendo. I don't think Sony would be where they are right now, because the relationship between Nintendo and Nintendo's a big part of why Sony...
The PlayStation wouldn't exist. It just wouldn't.
At least not in the form we know it, right? And I don't think Sega would not have been pushed either. Maybe Sega would have been the next company to sort of take take a stance on it, but maybe not, because Nintendo was a company that really... It's not so much that they did it, right? Because other companies wanted to create game systems. It was the way they did it. And marketing it as more of a toy, to sort of trick, retailers to put their hardware into, stores. Other companies may not have done that. So, yeah, we may not have seen home consoles. That may not have been a thing. I was driving someone the other day, because I did Lyft, and, it's like Uber, and I picked somebody up, and they were telling me, oh, man, I'm late for this party. It's oh, why are you late for the party? It's oh, it's because I was playing overnight. I'm not overnight. Overwatch.
Overwatch.
I used Fortnite and Overwatch. I was playing Overwatch. It's like, oh yeah. It's like, oh yeah. Do you play video games? It's like, yeah. I play Switch and PS4. It's like, oh. Well, I play on PC, and quite frankly, I think home consoles are stupid. It's like, oh, okay. Like, all right.
In a lot of ways, they are.
All right, asswipe, but whatever. Yeah, but I mean, all you play is Overwatch, though. So, like, I mean, not to say Overwatch is bad, but like, there is a whole bunch of other stuff you could play aside from Overwatch, right? Like,
there would have been more people like him if it wasn't for Nintendo.
Yeah, there'd be a whole bunch of people more like him, exactly. So,
But yeah, I don't think Sega would I don't think they would persist. Like Sonic, like as a character, and he was a major marketing factor for Sega back then.
Right, but you want to know
around Mario. So if there was no Mario to pretty much emulate and improve upon,
yes,
I don't think Sega would be as successful.
Sonic would not exist. Like, even if Sega came into the fold and found a way to make it into the industry, Sonic would not exist. Because the thing is, the reason Sonic exists is literally the higher ups at Sega were like, we need a Mario. That was the meeting. We need a Mario. And they had all the developers send different, they had so many different ideas. But they wanted a Mario. They wanted a mascot to kind of, because they saw what Nintendo did, like using that mascot to really like get into the hearts of gamers, create that icon, the kids want and understand. Like that whole idea, that philosophy would not be as prevalent. So one angle we could take this is there probably would be no home consoles. That's one possibility. Or if they were, there wouldn't be that much of them. There may not have been a focus on Mario games or having mascot characters. It would have been kind of more of just like like just the PC world, like whatever the PC world is, like less mascots, more of just like, oh, okay, you have more of this sort of graphic novel sort of thing, this shooter sort of thing, a lot more. I don't want to say less personality, but there'd be a lot less personality. I think
just getting the big dogs out of the way. Not Sony. The PlayStation brand and the Xbox brands wouldn't exist like at all.
Well, yeah, Microsoft would have stuck with PC, because PC would have been all it was.
Sony, that's a way to look at it, but Sony only made the PlayStation to spite Nintendo, and Xbox only made, not Xbox, Microsoft only made the Xbox to try to cash in on how successful Sony was.
Yeah.
So that there would be no, they wouldn't exist at all without Nintendo.
And also,
if they were,
handheld gaming would not be a thing. I mean, you'd be able to play on your laptop, but no handhelds. No 3DSs, no DSs, no Game Boys, no Nintendo Switches, nothing like that. And, I mean, there's another thing, like gaming, PC gaming, as much as people PC Master Race, it's not as big as everyone thinks. Like, there's not as many people playing PC games as there are people playing console games. At least people willing to spend enough money to keep that gaming division up as much as it is.
But, if you look at, World of Warcraft sales, there is a lot of PC gamers. I feel like there are more PC gamers than console gamers.
What about the concurrent players for World of Warcraft?
Yeah. The problem is that
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, those sales are kind of deceiving because there's a lot of people who bought it
and don't
but
come
they're
back.
Not playing it anymore.
I see what you're saying.
They don't play it anymore. There is an audience. Yeah, there's some games that sold really well, but they're not. Those people who are playing those games aren't going to buy a bunch of games. They're going to buy that game and nothing else.
So the argument here, right, is it's kind of like mobile in the sense that since everyone has a phone, mobile sales are astronomical. But most of those people aren't going to come back for more. And since everyone has a PC, essentially, that's why PC sales are so extraordinary, because everyone has it. It's not because everyone's a gamer on PC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think at least to an extent, that's definitely true.
Yeah, I don't think gaming budgets would be as high if it was only PC. Like, a lot of these multi-platform games sell more on the consoles than they do on PC. So you wouldn't be making as much money, which means you couldn't make as big budget games. So I think games would be a lot lower budget if this was just PC, or maybe people who buy consoles would get into PC gaming. Maybe
but
that's
just to be clear, Brandon, I feel like the PC market is still huge, and I would say it's still bigger than the console market. But I would have to look at the numbers. I don't have the numbers offhand, but I definitely
think PC technically is bigger, but I see what Brandon is getting at.
It's not as big as people realize, but I mean, as some of the numbers would indicate. But I still think I still feel like it's still probably bigger than the console industry, especially since a lot of like console games aren't even in every country. PC is in every country. Like there are countries where there are no video game systems. Like we're hearing about Nintendo sort of inserting themselves into China now. Like they haven't been there for years. What do you think they've been playing on? PC.
No, I still agree. I still agree with Brandon. Like we were having a discussion about the.
I think we should look this up. Actually, I said, I agree with your point.
I looked it up. Apparently, the video game console market is bigger. It's 28% of the market, while PC is only 22%. So it's not like way bigger, but the console market is bigger.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So like the consoles still have something that PC will never have, and like Brandon said. PC is an investment. It's almost like a car. You have to keep maintaining. Not a lot of people. A lot of people are going to go for the convenience of a console, especially if when more consoles like the Nintendo Switch come out, when you can play all your games anywhere you want. You know, it's way more powerful than a phone, and it's portable and unlike a PC. So I just feel like.
Yeah, the console market just is a market that appeals to a lot of people who wouldn't get into PC gaming. But there's definitely overlap there, and I think even if... I think, obviously, you wouldn't be making as much money, because more than half of that market between PC and console is consoles. But, I mean, you'd still be able to make games, but I think there would be less... probably more shovelware, less big AAA games.
So I just put a graph on here very quickly just to kind of show people. So you guys can probably see it on stream. Just like take us off in a second. Just to kind of show people the graph of like the market. Some people are saying in the comments that the PC market is bigger. So 2017 global games market. Here's like a little graph. I don't know if you guys can see it, but like so mobile 46.1 billion. PC 29.4 billion and console 33.5 billion. So console is bigger in 2017, but mobile is the largest. So just to kind of get an idea of like where this is. So yeah, according to this, console is bigger. You know, so there we go. Like just so we know, right? So there's no debate about this. These are numbers from 2017. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, we can continue the conversation. Sorry, sort of stop you guys in the middle of that.
No, we gotta make sure what we're saying is true. Like that's definitely.
It's nothing wrong with the confirmation.
Yeah. But I think there would be a lot more shovelware games, and games just may not be as advanced maybe as they are now. It's hard to say, but I don't know. In a way, though, maybe games might look better because they don't have consoles holding them back. So maybe all them PC Master Race. People who say consoles are holding the PC graphics market back, that's actually pretty true.
It's true.
In that way, gaming could be better, but that's, I mean...
A lot of IP wouldn't exist.
Another thing to point out, though, is that Nintendo pushed a lot of innovation in the industry. Like, they pushed, like, I'm not saying they created polygons, they didn't, but they really pushed the envelope for bringing in polygons, taking it to another level in the game industry. They introduced Rumble, they introduced analog sticks on a controller, you know, they introduced shoulder buttons, like...
They introduced, like, how controllers work.
The D-pad, the directional pad. It wasn't always WASD, the directional pad, you know, like, that's Nintendo. Like,
modern controllers were pretty much every feature on a modern controller is inspired by something Nintendo made.
Thank you, Pop Slayer.
Yeah.
He said all the casuals and normies play PC.
They all play the Xbox.
Well, I mean, that's true, though. Like, casual consumers aren't going to be like, oh, I should get a PC, I should put in $10,000.
PCs are expensive.
You know, like, but, like,
Yeah.
consoles are made for the family, you know, like, for people who don't have $10,000 to spend on gaming, but maybe they have a few hundred, you know? Or even cheaper. There are even cheaper options, alternatives out there, so...
And PCs are, like, local multiplayer on PCs is, like, dead. It just is. It barely exists. So you'd see a lot less
games
of that.
don't exist on PC either. And
Yeah,
I know a lot of
hardly at all.
people. A lot of people are gonna be like, a lot of people are gonna be like, what? I can't get the game. What? A lot of people are just lost without physical games.
I didn't even have a disk drive for my PC. I had an external one, but it was my brother's, so it wasn't even mine. Like you just don't need one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that was just brought up that the Wavebird, you know, Nintendo brought, you know, they were the ones that's like, hey, Wavebird, what wireless controller? You know, like, they've come up with so much stuff. There's just, yeah, if Nintendo didn't exist then, there'd be such a huge focus on PC gaming. There would be more PC gamers, but there wouldn't be as much of a push for innovation, you know? You look at what Sony and Microsoft are now, right? Like, if it weren't for Nintendo sort of pressuring them to try different things, I don't think they would try as much. Like, I
feel like that sort of goes without saying. No Nintendo equals no innovation in the.
I don't want to say no innovation. I think there would definitely be innovation, but there wouldn't be as much. It'd be a lot less.
It wouldn't be to a significant level.
So here's another point.
Like, PC doesn't need to innovate.
Yeah.
Like like I was saying earlier, where it's like the digital era would come way sooner than it is now, since PC is pretty much all digital now.
We're there in the PC era. What's physical media? What's that?
Yeah.
For PC gamers.
So here's
all Steam.
So here's another interesting point. Okay, if you go back to 2004, this is before the big smartphone, tablet, touchscreen explosion. The Nintendo DS was revealed. Came out in 2005. The Nintendo DS is what sort of propelled touchscreen technology to like the mainstream eye. Like it's what kind of excited people about the idea of touchscreen games and functionality. And then not too long afterwards, we saw the iPhone, and we all know how that panned out. But Nintendo, they were a big part of that movement. They were a part of the early stages of the whole touchscreen explosion in terms of interactivity with hardware. And, like, think about that. I'm not saying if Nintendo didn't exist, we wouldn't have saw something like the iPhone, but it may not have happened as quickly. And, you know, like, it's just interesting that Nintendo has done different things with their hardware that have really helped to propel the industry. If not in a different direction, they've helped to speed up the development of a lot of things we've done. So, like, you know, like,
their influence is long-reaching. It's definitely long-reaching.
And if you look at it from like a software perspective, though, like, for example, Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is something where, because of that game, developers who make open world games are going to be pressured to sort of make them far more interactive and immersive than they did beforehand. If Breath of the Wild didn't exist, they would stagnate a little bit, you know? So it's just an example of what Nintendo has done time and time again, because they are always trying to, you know, raise the bar or do things different. They're not even always going a bit like lateral moves because they want to separate themselves to make money, obviously. So
I feel like Ocarina of Time was more like Ocarina of Time and like Super Mario 64. If those, like, people don't understand, those two games alone inspired, I want to say, like, modern games today. Like, seriously, like the whole camera control in Mario. Do you have like a lot of games use camera control, and all of that spun off of Super Mario 64.
Right, and then the whole Z-targeting
battle system from Ocarina of Time. Do you have any idea how many 3D games use that? It's crazy.
Right, so like, where would we be? Like the third-person act. Like, I feel like when we think about it now, it just seems kind of like makes so much sense for every game to have like a Z-target, like where you have that button that centers your camera, right? But maybe if there wasn't an Ocarina of Time or Mario 64, that wouldn't be a thing. you know. Or think about, or
Yeah.
at least it would have been a few more years before someone would have done something like that. Like there's,
Yeah, and to it,
it's crazy how much Nintendo has influenced, and at least when you just talk about directly the game industry, like there's just so much that would be,
to,
wow.
and to an extent, like, and I have seen a couple of people say this in the chat, wouldn't be the same people we are today. Like, I've told both of you guys how Nintendo has influenced my life. Like, I would not be the same person. Like, you would be talking to a completely different person if it wasn't for Nintendo in my life. And I know there are a lot of people out there like that. I feel like they have that factor that the other companies don't.
Pokemon wouldn't exist.
In my opinion. Yeah, a lot of things wouldn't exist.
Pokemon wouldn't exist. But Pokemon's a cultural phenomenon. It is a cultural phenomenon.
Final Fantasy wouldn't exist either. So, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just Nintendo franchises though. Like, you're right, because the thing is, like, other companies were, they weren't able to insert themselves into the industry. They wouldn't have been able to if it weren't for what Nintendo accomplished. Like I said earlier, like, yeah, it's a great point. It's not just Nintendo stuff. There wouldn't be other franchises. Like, for example, like, how would this have impacted the anime industry, right? Like, the anime industry might not even be as big because a lot of anime are popularized through their games, right? And then video games are a big part of what a lot of companies use to sort of market their IP or their franchise. Like movies, whenever a movie comes out, there's gonna be a game about it, like, or vice versa. Like, so you take out games like they are consumer friendly, because that's what console games are, consumer friendly. Like, they're for the mainstream people, PC gamers. That's not as large of a market.
Hardcore,
yeah. There's so much to be different. But to go back to your point, well, because I did sort of, like, sidetrack us. Personally, I don't know, man. Like, my life would be completely different. I don't know if it would be worse, but it would be completely different. Maybe I'd be a pirate.
It would, yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what so much of my life has been gaming, and I mean, I still play outside and stuff, but, like, it's just a big part of who I am, obviously, like how much time I put into this channel. So, like, yeah, a lot of us would be different. What would we be doing? I have no idea. It would be something else for sure. That, like, I don't know. Yeah. So yeah,
it's crazy because it's not just like you said, and you made a really good point. It's not just a video game thing. It's a pop culture thing in general. Like you just said, anime. When Pokemon the anime came out and was just boom, massive success, how many freaking copycats showed up after that? Like, how much does Nintendo, or just the Pokemon, you know how it works, that just influences anime, and then at the same time movies and stuff. Like, Nintendo has a massive grip on just pop culture in general.
Right, and actually, VC Online is talking about the history of the company, right? Because it's not just gaming. Like, Nintendo was something before that. He's making references to, like, Yakuza dealings, government sanctions, and love hotels, and playing cards. Like, they've dabbled in a lot of different things, a lot of different industries, and they play a role in Japan's history. Japan. What's wrong with me?
So, to an extent, Japan wouldn't be the same. That's crazy. Like, literally, like, the manifestation, just everything about Japan, I feel, everything.
I think
not everything.
It would be very foolish to say that Nintendo has not had a huge influence on world culture, right? But especially Japanese culture. I mean, they're literally, Mario is a part of the mascots that are representing the Olympics. Think about how big of a deal you need to be able to represent the entire country for the Olympics. A pretty big deal, okay? So,
Sure. Mario is the most popular character on the planet. So
there's Mickey Mouse.
Take his place? No, he's more popular than Mickey Mouse.
Is that a fact? Certifiable fact?
And Nintendo is more popular or more well known than Disney. He's the most valuable IP like ever.
Okay.
Like,
Will, I don't know. Like, is that your opinion, or have you heard, like?
Oh no. No. And then, like, Nintendo is the fourth most trusted company in the world, so that would be just one less trusted. It's crazy to think on how much they actually influence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
BC Online 9.8U confirmed. Well, they didn't confirm it, but they Shigeru Miyamoto will probably be working at Disney. Yeah.
I actually don't think he would. If Shigeru Miyamoto didn't even want to get into, like, no, I don't think he'd be working at Disney. If you look into Miyamoto's history, like he might have just become a musician. Actually,
yeah,
that's what he wanted to do.
I got him confused with someone else who wanted to work at Disney.
Yeah, maybe. That's the other thing, though. Like, Disney, for a lot of kids, is like their childhood. I always hear people say, oh, Disney's my childhood. Disney was not my childhood, but Nintendo definitely was. Like, Nintendo was my childhood. That's what, was really awesome for me. And I think I just realized that Brandon's not here.
Yeah, he's been gone for a while. I wonder if other people knew.
No, what happened? He just disappeared.
I have no idea. I'm assuming his Wi-Fi went out because he would have,
Yeah.
Texted us.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So well, let me read what Sabbath is saying here, because apparently VC was saying it's pretty smart. So I should read it. Where is it? Shigeru Miyamoto would probably be working at Disney if Nintendo exists. Oh, I saw that earlier. I disagree with that because I've looked into his history a little bit, and he wanted to be a musician. So I don't know. I don't think he would have, so right?
Because Miyamoto is the 12th richest man in Japan, so he would just be some other.
I don't think he'd be rich.
Some other. Yeah, he would just be some other musician wandering around.
Or maybe not. Maybe not even. He wouldn't. He was not a programmer. He kind of learned the ropes after the fact. Like, he. I don't. He may not have ended up being a musician, but I don't think he would have ended up a programmer either. And he may not have been able to maximize his creative talents. And that's the interesting thing. Like, there would have been a lot of people who are not able to really reach their potential. Maybe he would have reached his potential in a different way. So it's hard to say. Maybe the world would be better because you never really know, right? It's like what's they call that effect? It's slipping my mind. What's it called?
Not
a rain effect.
In general, if you remove one thing,
a butterfly effect. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just in general. Like, if you remove one thing, and like I know that like this might be a little too sensitive, but if like a lot of people are like, oh, I wish the Holocaust never happened, there might be something else worse that could happen as an effect. Like it won't just magically be a better place.
Yeah. So actually, Cynical and Jeremy are like, oh, butterfly effect. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. So. I think we all agree that the world will be very, very different, and it might not be as interesting, So the world's an incredibly interesting place. There's so much potential in so many different ways, but Nintendo's had a huge, huge impact on so much, even outside of gaming. So I think it's pretty crazy. Yeah. So it's a great topic. Is there anything else that? I guess that we're going to kind of conclude this discussion, but is there anything else you want to sort of end this topic with, Will? And if anyone in the chat, I'll be looking directly at the chat now for any final questions. I know Super Chris wanted me to talk about Mario Kart Tour a little bit, so we'll get to that as soon as Will has his final say on this topic. So just throw your questions, guys.
No, man. I guess we could just mellow out until Brandon returns, or you just
I don't
ready to.
I don't think Brandon is gonna return. Not in time.
I was just gonna say until you're ready to end it. I was gonna take it back, like, oh wait, he's probably not returning, so until you're ready to end it. But no, I think it's really, really cool to think, because I think about it from time to time, but like it wasn't until I had a discussion like this when I realized they're very, very massive in like a lot of what they do. So you can go on to the questions if you want.
All right. So I said Super Chris. He has like different names depending on what platform. But Blackstar Dude wanted me to put some Mario Kart Tour predictions. Now we talked about this beforehand, but like if I had to guess, I think apparently it is going to be kind of like Mario Run, where you have to pay to Like you can play it for free, but to get the whole game, you have to pay. You have to pay like probably some sort of amount of money. I don't know how much it's going to be.
That makes sense.
I think.
That makes sense.
Oh, Brandon is back.
Brandon's back.
Brandon's back.
Hello.
That makes sense because Mario Run, they had all of those stages and stuff, and Mario Kart is very much structured the same. They're like, oh, the rest of the courses are available if you pay. I don't think the whole microtrans. I don't think the whole strategy they use with Fire Emblem Heroes would work as well. Like, it will obviously work because it's mobile.
I don't know, to be honest, because I know Fire Emblem did way better in sales than Mario Run, so I don't know if it's a good decision, to be honest. But in terms of what the content will get, I love Mario Run. I'm just saying I don't. I wasn't
really saying what they would do as a business. As a business, if I was Nintendo, I would definitely go for the Fire Emblem thing 100% of the time. But what I was trying to say was that Mario Run style fits better with the mobile in general because objectively it is a superior game.
Yeah, I agree, and
I think it fits better with Mario Kart 2 because I feel like the microtransactions would have to be really, like,
yeah,
it'd be
have to be
dumb.
aggressive.
The microtransactions they'd have to find stupid ways to do it, and that would probably be pretty annoying. And Nintendo has been, they've been of the mind that if they don't want to make microtransactions ever feel annoying to use or intrusive. So I just feel like I don't see how you would do microtransactions in that game without them being very intrusive.
Actually, Jeremy, he brought up something. He questions if the Fire Emblem game is coming this year, or at least that's what it appears.
I want to get to that question in a moment, but I just kind of I want to actually offer the predictions for Mario Kart Tour because Blackstar Dude wanted them. So I think it's gonna be. Just quick predictions, and we'll get to the Fire Emblem question. It's gonna be a game. It's gonna be a game where you have races. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna have. I think it's gonna be kind of like a. I could see it playing like maybe a little bit like not exactly what's the game? Maze Runner. Not exactly like that, but maybe tilting can allow you to turn around, right? But you also could maybe do some like attacks and throw items at the same time by interacting with the screen while tilting. That could be an option, or maybe instead of like tilting to turn, you use your finger to like go left and right. And I could see the. Well, how are you gonna turn, Brandon?
They're gonna
just tilt the screen.
Okay.
It works fine.
They're gonna have to emulate, not emulate. They're gonna have to innovate, because racing games on phones suck. They're just terrible.
I don't know. I played like Asphalt 8's fun. I think if they added not crappy drift mechanics, it'd be fine.
I just really hate touchscreen controls.
So is it gonna be 3D or 2D? Is it gonna be kind of like Super Mario Kart, but like with better, obviously better sprites, or is it gonna be more?
No, it's gotta be.
I've seen racing games actually look pretty good on phones. Like they're getting pretty close to that 360. Like look at Forza 4, a little bit worse than that. They're getting kind of close to that. So.
Yeah. So
that would be weird.
Okay, I could see it. I guess it'll be 3D, and I think tilting for turning, and I think it's gonna have items and stuff.
Style with Forza 4, the graphical fidelity.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
obviously.
Yeah. So let's move down to questions.
Okay.
There's still no sign of a freaking direct, but I don't know, maybe there won't be a February direct, but hey. I know Nintendo usually announces a direct on Tuesdays. I said it last week. I'll say it again. Maybe there'll be one tomorrow. An announcement for one. So stay tuned.
If not tomorrow, I don't think it's happening this month.
You never know. I mean, they could do it the next week. They could do whatever. So I don't know, man. Yeah.
I feel like if there's gonna be.
I feel like a March.
They announced.
Yeah, when in March?
I don't know. Sometime March.
The games they announced in the Nintendo Direct Mini led right up to May. So I don't think we're going to get, personally, I don't think we're going to get
any major directs. Yeah, I see what you're saying. We might just get like game-focused directs. So its initial release date is supposed to be March 16th. Brandon.
I thought
Yeah.
it might have been earlier in the month. So yeah, they could have been. Because I was thinking if they did a direct soon, they'd want to cover that game. So they want to do it not like 2 days before it came out.
Right. So
I don't think.
yeah. I kind of see what you guys are saying. I don't think we're getting that major direct either at this point. If we don't get something like in February, I don't think it's happening until at least May. If any, if not, if maybe not even then. Maybe it won't even be until.
I could see one like right before Kirby Star Allies, like a week or two before it.
We'll see. But it's there. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking.
Yeah, for sure.
They're gonna just do one of those dump directs where it's like, okay, we don't want this in E3. Bam.
Yeah.
I don't know.
For sure.
So Jeremy is saying Pokemon E3 definitely. I think we may hear about Pokemon a little bit before E3, but we'll see like full on gameplay at E3. But we may get like a trailer from Pokemon Company before.
Yeah.
They usually do that.
They do a Pokemon Direct, and Pokemon Company just doesn't like even Pokemon Sun and Moon. We saw gameplay of that before E3.
Right. No, they.
I feel like
I think some
they would
gameplay.
tease.
Yeah.
I think we'll at least see concepts and stuff, and like maybe some character models.
Yeah. I also.
Something.
There'll be some teasing, like artwork or something.
Mm-hmm. Well, all I'm saying is that so it's clear. Every time a Pokemon game is coming out, like in that year, which has been almost every year for a while. There's only been like a couple years in the last like decade that the Pokemon Company missed. They show off the Pokemon game before E3. They always show it off before E3. So if Pokemon is coming out this year, I expect to see it before E3. But if it's not, this is a different beast because it's the first console Pokemon. Mainline console Pokemon, so they are treating it a little differently. I mean, after all, they did announce it technically the last E3, which is something the Pokemon Company never does. Like, they never announce a Pokemon game, an E3 before, the year it comes out. That never happens. Yeah. So, it is a different beast. So, but I definitely think we're seeing Pokemon in some capacity at E3. Whether that's the first time we see it, hard to say, but definitely Pokemon will be at E3.
I'm curious how they announced Stadium and like the other spin-off console games.
I'm not worried about
those.
I don't know because they're always so different, and it's like it depends, and they're not made by the Game Freak, right? So like it's a different beast altogether. It depends.
I don't think there's gonna be a Metroid Prime 4 like reveal because the only thing that the only thing that did was
well, the Metroid Prime 4 is like just the title, so.
No, he was saying like for Pokemon, but like the only thing that did was just confirm that it was in development.
Essentially, they already had that for Pokemon.
Yeah, they said Pokemon. They just didn't have a cool title with music. They
just had the guy. He was like, guys, shut up and wait.
Yeah.
A cool title
like,
being.
Shut up. Shut up. Wait, we're working on it. That's what he said.
Right?
Pretty much,
like
yeah.
That's what he should have said.
I like how you reference Metroid Prime 4 as a cool title, even though it's just Metroid Prime with 4 at the end.
That's cool. 4 is cool, okay? So, yeah, I'm right. It is. Anything Metroid is cool. You're wrong. So, Fire Emblem's definitely coming out this year. It's coming. It just hasn't been shown off yet. It may be a later title. That's the thing, right? If we don't get a major direct anytime soon, then Fire Emblem's definitely coming out, like, close to, if not holiday season. It could be, like, a late summer title. I can still see that happening. But we're definitely going to see Fire Emblem this year. Like, I think that's a guarantee. So, yeah. So, moving on. No Filter Nintendo Podcast. Thoughts on the relatively lax 2018 for Nintendo that we know of so far. Kirby doesn't move the needle. Ports are fine, but nothing special. And Mario Tennis, which is decent, but where are the new games? I mean, we were kind of already touching on it already. I think we're going to see Fire Emblem. We're going to see Metroid. We're going to see Pokemon at E3 while they all kind of come out this year. That's, a point of debate, but I don't want to get into that debate because we talk about it almost every week. So, and every week my opinion slightly changes on that. But I definitely think we're going to see all those games at E3. I think we're probably going to see Smash at E3 as well. We may see Bayonetta 3 at E3. And also, don't forget, there's that Travis Touchdown game. So that may also be coming out this year.
I feel like we're definitely going to see something for Animal Crossing and Smash. Like, it doesn't have to release this year. It doesn't matter. But I feel like we're definitely going to have to see something. And I feel like they treat Travis Touchdown as more of like an indie.
Yeah, I mean, it is an indie, but yeah, it is an indie. I'm just saying it's an interesting game that's going to come. Yeah, we'll see something about it this year. That's all I'm saying.
No, a lot of people are hyped about it. But I don't think they're going to save a spot for it at E3.
Oh, well, we'll see.
It depends on how much they have to show.
Yeah, I don't think the Mario movie's coming, but we're not gonna see anything about it this year. No, it takes too much time. The theme park, we're also not gonna see anything about this year.
I don't think we're gonna see anything for mobile theme parks or anything outside their main concept.
Let me read this out loud though. Cal just bought me. I heard the Nintendo theme park would have an augmented reality Mario Kart. Thoughts? That would be really cool. I believe it. It's a theme park. It's going to be more interactive. It's going to be more hands-on stuff. Actually, the theme park is a huge opportunity to be like a super arcade with roller coasters, you know? And, like, yeah, I think they could... There's so much potential with this. I hope they take advantage of it, but we'll see. And also keep in mind that when the theme park does open up, it's just going to be a small piece of it. Like, it's going to take years for that park to expand. You know, just look at other theme parks. If you guys have ever been to other theme parks, like, look at Universal Studios, like, you look at Islands of Adventure. Look at the Harry Potter section of Islands of Adventure. It was just a couple things at first, and now it's sort of expanded to be almost like its own park in and of itself, right? But these things take time. So when we first see it, and probably 2020, which is, I think, they're trying to open it up for the Japan Olympics, then we'll see at least a section of it. Well, I mean, you know, the first, it's going to be decent for what it is, but there's going to be a lot more added throughout time. But I wouldn't.
The Mario section they showed off in that picture that they released. That's what we're getting by 2020.
Yeah, like there probably won't be like a Metroid, you know, lab to go through, or like
there was going to be a bunch of additions coming later down the road,
or like a Legend of Zelda Ride My Pony sort of thing. Actually,
I'm sure there'll be a Legend of Zelda. Like, it's Mario,
something.
I think next is Legend of Zelda because that's their second biggest franchise.
I mean, they'll probably have something Zelda. They'll probably have something Zelda at the theme park on day one, I think, because it's a big Nintendo franchise. But Metroid and Star Fox and might come in a little later.
I think Kirby fits well for theme park.
I think Kirby will be there. He's pretty popular.
There definitely will be a lot of Amiibo being sold.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Every store is going to have Amiibo. It's going to be like a Nintendo store every corner. So, VC Online is saying, what are your thoughts on the possible success or failure of Nintendo Labo coming? I think it's a guaranteed success, to be honest. It's just a question of how successful. Will it be like the next like Wii Sports, or will it be kind of more like a Captain Toad Treasure Tracker? I don't know. Like, it's going to be more. It's going to be better than that. I think we're seeing...
Actually... Well, two things. I think it's interesting. Well, we didn't really talk about the Nintendo Labo and the more footage thing, but I guess that's not really necessary. But I feel like back to the E3 thing for just a quick second. I feel like something that has to do with the Switch itself has to. Like, I feel like that has to be a thing. Like, I'm not talking about games. I feel like something major, like the actual Switch hardware itself, needs to be like virtual console or something in the same vein of that.
Well, I mean, we know Nintendo's.
I'm not saying that it has to be at E3 like in their presentation, but something needs to be of consequence. Like, okay, day one, or they just randomly announce it. Like, oh yeah, virtual console. I feel like they would do something like that.
Well, I don't want to get into a whole virtual console conversation right now because that would, you know.
I wasn't really debating virtual console. Yeah. I just think something like it needs to happen.
Well, we know Nintendo's online service is coming in September. They're going to have to detail that and all of its features because we know that they're trying to add extra features to add value. So there's going to be stuff to it that we don't know about yet. So we're going to hear about it.
I feel like that's different from the virtual console, though.
Right, but it is something, right, that adds value, you know, or it's so...
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to have that and the virtual console. In my opinion, All we can do is speculate.
Right now, there's a lot of speculation going that there won't even be Virtual Console anymore. That whatever it is going to be slightly different. But I definitely think we're going to be seeing games like Twilight Princess, Mario Galaxy ported onto the Switch to some capacity. How exactly it's going to be marketed, what's it going to be coined as, it may not be Virtual Console. But we are going to be getting old games. Maybe.
Like
no. Yeah.
Or like a Netflix type thing, which I would enjoy.
Yeah. So, Sad was saying, doesn't Miyamoto hate mobile gaming? I don't know, but I do know that during all the Mario Run marketing, he definitely didn't look like he hated it. So there's that to take into consideration. It could be a lie, but I don't think it is.
He said he hated microtransactions.
Oh, microtransactions, I would definitely understand that. It's like pay to win, kind of, in a way. So, and also,
he said he hates loot boxes too.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
He's an OG.
So let me see. Am I at the bottom of the chat? No, I'm not.
Last Switch game we bought.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Super Mario Odyssey. Yeah.
That was the last Switch game you bought, was Super Mario Odyssey?
Well, that's a good game to buy.
I'm gonna buy Bayonetta 1+2 though. Eventually.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to buy everything. I still haven't bought Shadow of the Colossus Remastered for PlayStation 4. I'm gonna get that soon. And then after that, I'll probably try and get Bayonetta 1 and 2. Of course, by the time I end up beating Shadow of the Colossus, I'm still working on Celeste, like 100%ing that game. Then I'm gonna get Bayonetta, and then Kirby Star Allies is gonna come out. God, man, my wallet. Like,
Hey, at least you have a PS4. I have to go buy one just to play all these games. So I got an extra like $300-$400 on top of what you have to buy.
Yeah. So.
Online game chat. Nintendo needs help.
Oh gosh. Yes. I mean, that better be something that they are integrating into the Switch with the online service.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is one thing that I don't like the Switch. I love the Switch. That I don't like about the Switch.
Sinner.
Is that friend codes are still a thing.
I actually don't mind that at all.
I don't really care about it either. Because you only need one friend code. You only need one friend code though. You don't need two anymore. So like you give whoever wants to do the friend code thing, they put in the friend code, and then the other person has to accept. Is it amazing? No, but it is better than before. But Nintendo's online service is coming in September, so there is still the hope that that will change then. So we'll see.
That doesn't really. Friend codes are still bad. Like usernames are still more intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like that's still bad.
In some ways they are. Yeah. I mean, if you could get an exclusive username, then yeah.
That's kind of terrible. I don't know.
If your username like could be used also by somebody else, then that's just annoying.
Like, I remember it was like someone
It's like
was
looking people up on Facebook. You can't never find anybody.
Like this dude that he just never had a Nintendo console. And
Yeah.
he was like, "What's your username on Switch?" I'm like, "That's not how it works." And he's like, "What?" And he's like, "I'm like, you need a code." And he's like, "What the?" I don't know. But that's just a minor thing. Like I can get over it. That's not. I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, the Switch sucks now." Spring codes. No, I'm not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's my favorite console ever. Right now.
But it could totally be better. I get that too.
Yeah.
Oh, apparently the My Nintendo implementation of Switch Rewards, I heard about that, but to be honest, I rarely care about that.
It depends on what they have. Like, if they have, like, quality games, like, on sale, like, throw indie games on them, man. Throw some indie games on there. Give them support on the My Nintendo thing. I'll buy them up. I don't have near enough indies on the Switch yet. I've been kind of holding off. Yeah, put games like that on there. Put like, you know, I think that it could be good if they just put some good games on there. Give me coupons for quality games, and I'll be happy.
So I want to end the discussion now. So yeah, I haven't eaten today. I know it's weird. I did have a bag of lime flavored Tostitos or something.
Ew.
What? What's wrong with you?
Nasty.
What is wrong with you? That's great.
Oh, Takis are so gross.
Okay, you're wrong.
Blasphemy.
Hold on, we need to have a snack food topic discussion.
Well,
real quick.
at the rate the news is going, that might be a viable option.
Yeah, news has been a little slow on my channel. Like, it's just been mostly not news videos.
Whatever
wake up,
happened to
what's
that
Nintendo
Metroid
news?
game?
Nothing.
There hasn't been that much Nintendo news lately, so it's just kind of one of those things where that's the thing though. Because there hasn't been that much news lately, I'm kind of thinking, all right, Nintendo, you need to do that little, jab to get you trending again. So there may be a direct coming soon. That's literally my only reason for thinking it at this point, though, because there's not that much news, so there should be Nintendo making news.
Oh, Jeremy Bins makes a good point. Which is first year direct on their anniversary. I think that makes sense.
Wait, what?
Scroll down all the way to the bottom of the chat. There.
Oh, March 3rd?
Yeah, March 3rd.
That would be cool.
What? Okay,
Where
hold on. Let me look at my
like,
calendar. What day is March? What date is March?
where they're just like, okay, guys.
That is a
Switch
Saturday,
sold.
so that could happen.
So like
A Saturday? Hell no. It's not gonna. What?
Nintendo isn't really a creature of habit, though. So
They're not gonna have a direct on a Saturday. They're not gonna have a direct on a Saturday. It is not. No, people. It is.
No. Nintendo isn't really like. Well, there are some people that might think we'll do this. I don't think Nintendo works by a schedule with their direct. I guess you could say, because they spend all their effort trolling us. Because I'm pretty sure that direct.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm
pretty sure they moved that direct, the Nintendo Direct Mini back. I'm sure they moved that back.
Nintendo's not gonna have a direct on the weekend. They have people who work.
The weekend's the best time. It's like.
I understand what you mean, but think about it. They haven't done it yet. You know why? Because they have people at work that handle all the medias and stuff during the week. People don't work during the weekend at Nintendo, so unless you're like a developer. But like, yeah. So I don't expect there to be any directs on a
I
Saturday.
need you to work overtime. I hope it isn't too hard of work. Just upload this video.
They could do they could do a video upload. They could schedule that, but like the Nintendo Directs, those like the live Nintendo Directs, like that doesn't happen. That's never happened on the weekend. I don't expect it to happen now. I don't think that's gonna change. They could do like a little trailer thing talking about the Switch anniversary on Saturday. I could see that happening, but I don't expect. It's just gonna be a tribute. There's not gonna be like news or anything like that.
Jeremy, if it means anything, I think Nintendo thinks that the first anniversary of the Switch is that important to where they'll overwrite what they've been doing.
Yeah.
And do a direct on Saturday.
They could drop it.
They're unpredictable, so they never ever. Nothing is guaranteed.
Nothing is guaranteed, but I will bet $20 that it will not happen. There will not be a direct on a Saturday.
All we're doing is speculating.
Right. Yeah.
But I would bet $20 that Nintendo is going to have a direct on the anniversary of the fastest selling console in history.
All right. Do you want to bet $20?
I'm not betting $20. I don't got that kind of money to throw away.
All right. Let's just bet credibility. And like
the fastest selling console in history.
Okay, that doesn't change anything.
Yes, it does.
Well, what I'm saying is that next...
The fact that they've never done it on a Saturday doesn't change anything either, but we're just speculating.
Alright, well, you're here, guys. Well, let's see who's right. Come March 3rd.
Both of us are just making... I said
Will,
that.
you're gonna get a dock tray...
No. It's like you're pretending that there's not a possibility at all of it happening. You're like, oh, that's never.
I think it's highly unlikely.
I think there's a 50% chance. That's all I'm saying. It's a possibility.
Yeah.
Are you willing to stake your credibility on a 50% coin flip?
I'm talking about. I think it's gonna happen. There's.
Okay. All right. We'll find out March 3rd.
My credibility won't be affected if I'm saying I think it's a 50-50 chance.
No. Let me make myself clear. I'm not saying you're
speculating. How was my credit going to be affected?
Well, no. I'm joking. Okay, your credibility will not go down or up doesn't matter what. Well, actually, if you're right, your credibility would go up. But if you're wrong, it doesn't matter because you're just speculating. Yeah. But I don't think it's gonna happen on a Saturday. I think there'll be a tribute trailer. I just don't think it's gonna be news or anything like that. That's all. But we could have a direct the week before or the week after, but it will not be on a weekend.
Be like the mini direct where it's just uploaded, just bam. There you go.
And when I say it will not, I don't know. I'm not saying 100%. Nothing's 100%, but I'm pretty damn confident there will not be a Nintendo Direct on the weekend. So that's all I'm saying. But like, yeah, just
I'm confident that there will be a Direct for the
all right.
console.
All right, we'll see. We'll find out. Yeah. So let me see the chat before we say goodnight. Yeah, Oman Games like, oh, they never did a 1-year anniversary for anything else, have they? Well,
that makes.
But a console
doesn't lend to this being true.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. But anyways, thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you guys had a good time. If you have any topic suggestions for next week, because there isn't that much news, we'll have topics. But I'll take your topic idea suggestions so we can talk about more stuff later. It'll be great. Anyways, everyone, make sure to check out Will. He had a great idea for the whole topic of Nintendo never existing. Check out his channel. Even though we were arguing, I mean, we hate each other. We're just kind of debating about a Nintendo Direct anniversary. I don't know, hoopla. Yeah, so check out his channel. Check out Brandon's channel. What about Nintendo? He just made a video about how 3D Donkey Kong would be for the Switch. Check that out and other stuff. And yeah, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all really soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Fare thee well.